people show up to hear about our work in reproductive biology. So I'd like to start off the session by introducing the first speaker, and I think she's going to introduce herself. So I'll go to the first slide, I think, as soon as my PowerPoint will let me do that. Whoops. There we go. Is that correct? Or do we need the one before that? No, that one. Okay, we're ready to start, I believe.
Brilliant. So welcome everyone to this evening's CRH Open Evening as part of the Student Open Week 2020. And so we're here today to give you a bit of an idea as to what it's like to be part of the CRH at the Hudson Institute. And to help with that, we've got a great lineup of our centre heads, Kate Loveland and Mark Hedger, and some of our fantastic group leaders, Minni Anko and Patrick Weston. And to give you an insight as to the student life of the CRH, we've got Ruby, myself, Jen, and also Penny, who I'll lead you on to now, who will take you through how tonight's going to run, and I'll see you at the end for some Q&A.
Thanks, Jen. Hi everyone, I'm Penny, and I'm a first year PhD student in this centre. So first up, I just have a little bit of housekeeping. As you might have seen, your microphones are muted. So if at any point in the session you'd like to ask a question, and we would love you to do so, please write something in the Q&A and we'll either write you an answer or they'll be addressed in the Q&A segment at the end. You're also welcome to attend other sessions, but you'll have to go to the next webinar link to do so, and we'll provide this at the end of the session as well. Right, so we've got a great overview of our centre and its research this evening. And we have our centre head coming up next, Professor Kate Loveland, who will tell you all about who we are, our research, and why we think reproductive health is so important. Then we'll have Minni and Patrick to discuss some of the technologies and the models that we use in our centre and show you some lovely pictures from our students. And then we'll have some information from Ruby and Mark about student life at the Hudson and how to actually sign up for honours. And then we'll finish with the Q&A session. So next up we have Kate.
Welcome everyone. I'm so glad that you could join us today. I am indeed the head of the Center for Reproductive Health, but I also head the Testis Development and Male Germ Cell Biology group. And my email's there in case you're interested in understanding, doing some work in that area. So the Center for Reproductive Health is part of the integrated spectrum of research teams that comprise the Hudson Institute of Medical Research. And I hope you'll have a chance to browse through some of the other sessions and meet some of the other research scientists who are in fact our colleagues and our friends. So the supervisors that are currently offering projects are listed on this slide with an indication of their key areas of expertise. You'll see that the projects are span different areas of research. We've kind of roughly put them into male reproductive health, uterine biology, reproductive developmental biology, and molecular biology of reproduction headings. But in fact, our projects can span between the research groups to ensure that our work has the greatest impact, and also to give our students a full range of discovery outcomes. So pretty much most students will have experience working with multiple supervisors during the course of their honors or master's or PhD work. So we think that's a really great opportunity that we can offer to students in our center. So you're probably well aware that the Monash Health Translation Precinct offers many research opportunities that are connected with human health. Our work in the discipline of reproductive biology relates to issues of transgenerational importance that is relevant to every person. We're part of an essential community, international community committed to understanding why 1 in 6 couples have difficulties conceiving, why currently 1 in 25 Australian babies are conceived by IVF. This was unthinkable 40 or 50 years ago. And that number that is so large reflects the fact that reproductive health measures are in fact declining. So our goal is to gain the knowledge and specific understanding of reproductive processes that will ultimately lead to improving health care. And our research goals are listed on here. Everything from the discovery research that allows us to understand the fundamental principles of cell and organ health. And our findings in reproductive sector are relevant to all other parts of the body because they use common processes. For example, we want to understand how immune cells support reproductive organs and influence fertility. If you're interested in immunobiology, this is a great place to start. But gametes are special, the gametes that form sperm and egg. So if you're interested in trying to understand what they do is different than other cells and why they are different, this might be a good place to stop and look at the research projects. So we interact with clinical colleagues because we're interested in providing the evidence that's required to improve healthcare. We want to help contribute to knowledge in terms of what are appropriate measures of fertility and infertility. We want to help provide guidance that is needed to improve reproductive health. We have also run forums, public forums, to try and bring the general public along and let individuals ask questions, both of the scientists and of the clinicians, about their healthcare in the reproductive sector. We want to provide the evidence that appropriately allows people to protect their fertility. We want to add to the understanding of how your general health affects your fertility and understand how parental health affects offspring health. And of course, we're here today because we're all interested in training you and others who will be developing new processes and making discoveries that will improve healthcare and reproductive outcomes for the years to come. So research training at the Hudson will offer you a qualification that demonstrates your skill in biomedical research, but importantly, in working with a really integrated and friendly team, your critical thinking, writing, and speaking skills will all have a chance to get a workout, and you should come away with a new confidence in your own capacity. We offer training in state-of-the-art research platforms because we are located in the Monash Health Translation Precinct. And I think most importantly for all of us, we're dealing with colleagues who are dedicated to improving human health and well-being. And I urge you to get to know some of us and to understand how you might be able to contribute to this effort with your research training. So I'd like to hand over now to some of our other scientists, Minni Anko and Patrick Western.
So at the Center of Reproductive Health, we really address these key questions in reproductive biology using a range of different models. And here you actually see a picture of data that our students have produced. So if you are a student in our center, you actually will be part of generating state-of-the-art data using very old modern research methods. And we study also reproductive health at all levels, so from the tiny molecules to whole organisms. So here on the left, you can see, left down corner, you can see, for instance, data from next generation sequencing experiments. So we study DNA and RNA molecules, and we try to understand how they contribute to coding of our reproductive health. So we offer projects where you could be part of generating the sample that is used to be sequenced, but you could also be part of analyzing the data and actually conduct completely computational projects. We also then, some of these findings we study in vitro models. That means we might isolate individual molecules and study them in the test tube, or we might do single molecule resolution studies on looking where these molecules are located in the cell or what they are doing. And these studies we do in different kinds of models. So we might be culturing cells in a tissue culture dish. We also culture things that are called organelles. They are like mini organs, or we use tissues isolated from whole organisms. And Patrick will explain a little bit more about these beautiful images that are on the slide.
So you can see here on the right-hand side a number of images which are generated through some of the high-end imaging approaches that we can have. So you can see, for example, near the top on the right-hand side, a blue and red image where we've created a three-dimensional image through a developing egg, for example. There are a number of immunofluorescent techniques here which allow us to look in great detail into the tissue and see in both the molecules which are switched on and off in these tissues during development and in adult life, and also to see the organisation of that tissue as well. So these techniques are really powerful, and they're also really a great deal of fun because they allow you to create some quite remarkable images that you would not otherwise have the privilege of seeing, I guess, in normal everyday life. But these techniques are really the key techniques for us and allow us to really see how disease forms and how the individual forms in real life. And so many of these techniques are the sort of techniques you would be exposed to during an honours year, and will leave you with experience that you can take away into the next phase of your career, whether that be in research or in other areas of science-related work. So I guess I'll pass on to Mark Hedger, who's going to tell you more about the detail of how you can get involved in this work and how to approach prospective supervisors, etc., and the basic nuts and bolts of what will go on.
Hi everyone, sorry, just before Mark takes over, I'll just like to jump in quickly. I'm Ruby, I'm a second year PhD student, and I'm excited to have this opportunity to showcase to you how great it is to be a student at the Centre of Reproductive Health. I can remember how overwhelming it feels trying to select the right project and navigate your way into this research project. So I'm going to quickly list some steps for you to follow to help you with this process. First of all, if you're interested in doing honours, the first thing that you need to do is find a supervisor with a project that you find interesting. Then what you need to do is introduce yourself through the use of an email to this potential supervisor and see if the research project is still available. It is really important to select the project that fits in well with your needs and expectations, as well as discussing the specifics of the project with your supervisor. It's also really important to meet the lab and the other members of this team. Have a look around the research space. Now, it's okay to be nervous, but as long as you feel comfortable and are excited with the project and the team, you're ready to sign up for honours. Now, for Masters and PhD students, it's also really important to find a supervisor and a project that excites you. You need to remember that you are going to be spending years of your life focusing on this topic and surrounded by this team. So make sure that you meet the members and get to know your supervisor. And importantly, ensure that the project excites you and it's a good fit for you. Now, the application process is online and it's quite a long procedure, so don't leave it to the last minute. It takes you through multiple steps, checking your qualifications, and then your supervisor will agree to support the application. You can also apply for a scholarship whilst you're filling in the application. Now, you're encouraged to reach out to your supervisors at any time, but keep in mind that they are busy, so don't be disheartened if they take a little bit of time to get back to you. But send out the email and express your interest, and then arrange a time to meet up. You can find a list of the available projects on the 2021 Postgrad and Honours research booklet, as well as finding a section on the reproductive health projects in there. Now, this is how I found my project. Alternatively, you can look on the project database using the link on the screen. Then send the email expressing your interest. It can be as simple as, "Dear Professor, I'm interested in your research project. Could I please arrange a time to meet up with you and discuss further?" But one thing that is really important, and I do recommend, is making sure that you make this email a little bit personal and demonstrate that you're interested in this topic and you have an understanding of what the lab researches and looks into. And when you do this, make sure that you stand out by attaching a CV or some sort of brief statement outlining your academic background. This really helps. So far, my experience being a CRH student at the Hudson has been so rewarding. I honestly didn't know what to expect when I was joining. However, I've been surrounded by a group of such supportive staff and students, and I've been given an abundance of opportunities. We have a CRH monthly meeting where we are given the opportunity as students to share our current work in progress and gain some constructive feedback. This is a really great time, and my favourite part of this meeting is at the start where Professor Loveland shares an update of the exciting work and achievements from our group. I feel like being a member of the CRH group is so uplifting, as the group aims to foster a safe and inclusive environment for student voices to be heard and also appreciated. Now, in addition to this, we also have the Hudson Institute Student Society, or HIS, and HIS creates opportunities for students from the various research groups to come together and support each other in both academic and social events. So we run events from movie nights to trivia nights, as well as the 3-minute thesis competition. And this is an opportunity which platforms and gives you a platform to communicate your thesis in under 3 minutes. HIS has been one of the most enriching aspects of being a student at the Hudson. It creates a safe space for us to network, share ideas, and support each other. So if you're interested in hearing some other voices from students of the Hudson Institute and HIS, we have 2 students, Ben and Mikey, who have started a podcast called the Hudcast, where they interview and other researchers from the Hudson, as well as students of the Institute. You can find the link on the screen below, or of course, search for them in Spotify or Apple Music. So if you are interested in doing a research project in a CRH lab, I highly recommend sending out that email to find out more and contact your potential supervisor. Also, keep your eye out for a link that will be sent around to give you the opportunity to join in on a CRH Zoom chat in the coming weeks and have a discussion with other members of CRH. I'll now pass over to Professor Mark Hedger, who will discuss some administrative details. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ruby. So most honours students will come to the Hudson Institute through one of 2 honours courses. The first is the honours in biomedical science, Bachelor of Biomedical Science honours course. And like all honours courses at Monash University, this consists of both coursework and an original research project, which you would organise with your supervisor. The qualifications for this is you have to have a credit average or better overall in your 3rd year biomedical subjects, which needs to be from Monash or from a GO8 university. So you can come from another university to do your honours here. For those students who are from non-GO8 universities, there's a slightly higher bar, but still in the credit range to become eligible to apply to do honours at Monash University and at the Hudson Institute. So the course details are listed, available at the link, which is provided on the slide there. I'm not going to spell it out, read it out to you, but that's the link that you need to go to if you want to find out more about the honours Bachelor of Biomedical Science honours course, and also to start your application once you've spoken to your supervisor. The closing date, oh, sorry, no, I haven't finished yet. Go back 1 slide, previous slide. So the closing date for the applications to commence in semester 1 is the November 13th, 2020. So the application site should be open now, and you need to have your application well underway by mid-November, and that deadline is a little bit flexible, but that's the general deadline for getting your application in. The advantage of doing the Bachelor of Biomedical Science is, of course, that you can actually enrol through the Hudson Institute, because it's we have the course is run through Monash Medical Centre and the Hudson Institute and the School of Clinical Sciences. So most of your assessments and coursework and all of your research work can be done here at Monash Medical Centre. The other main honours course, of course, for those of you from the Faculty of Science, is the Bachelor of Science honours. This is same as Bachelor of Biomedical Science. It's a coursework and original research project. Again, a credit average is required to be eligible to undertake honours. although obviously you don't need to have credits in biomedical subjects in order to be eligible to do the Bachelor of Science honours. Again, students from other institutions can apply and will qualify, and again, a mid-credit average is usually essential to be accepted into the course for those students from non-GO8 universities. Again, the course details and the links to applications are there on the link on the slide. The same closing date is for applications in this course is November 13th. So the same as for the Bachelor of Biomedical Science. The difference between the Bachelor of Biomedical Science and Bachelor of Science is, however, that because it's a Faculty of Science course, the students have to enrol in one of the Faculty of Science departments that are affiliated with the Faculty of Medicine. So, for example, departments of anatomy, microbiology, immunology, etc. So that's the main difference between the two courses. That means that some of your coursework and your assessment will be done in those other departments. And finally, I'll just remind you about the booklet, the research project booklet, which is available at the Hudson website, and it's shown here, and there's the link for you. So hopefully those of you who want to do honours, we look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you. So I think now we have a question and answer session. Kate, I believe, or are you going to be chairing this? Is that?
I think we have, I just want to announce too, if you want to attend the next session, it'll start at 7 o'clock. I can't see the Q&As right now, so I'm
okay. Sorry to interrupt. I've got the Q&A box open now, so I'll just, we've got 3 great questions, so I'll just start with the first one. Yep. This one's from an anonymous attendee, but they're currently in their 3rd year of Bachelor of Science and was wondering if you offer summer programs or internships, even if you're not sure that you will pursue honours.
So I'm happy to answer that. There are plenty of times when we have students come in and spend a period of time in the lab and work with a group in order to check out the fit. There are vacation scholarships that are typically offered through the Hudson. There aren't a lot of them, but there is an opportunity, and you may be able to negotiate something with the lab head you're interested in getting to know. The best thing to do is ask the supervisor whether there is an opportunity for you. Yep.
Okay, so thank you. The next question is from Julianne. Do I need to confirm a position with a supervisor who will take me on before I submit an honours application with the Hudson Institute?
The short answer to that is yes. You will need a supervisor and a project in order to complete your application. So it's best to talk to your supervisor well ahead of the time when you want to put in your application.
Thanks, Mark. And then we have another question from an anonymous attendee. They're just wondering if you accept mid-year entry for honours.
Absolutely, yes. We've done that in the past and had terrific outcomes. There are fewer students that enroll mid-year, so the cohort is generally smaller, but Mark Hedger is adept at managing that to make sure that the students who enroll mid-year are integrated with the students that enroll at the beginning of the year, so they're not isolated as a smaller group. So yeah, we welcome. We're pretty flexible because research happens all the time. We're really interested in having people come for the right reasons, and I think that the chance to explore what it's like to talk to somebody who has been doing research for a long time, and particularly our students, is a really important way to decide whether you're willing to jump in and have a go at it. I also recommend if you're a second-year student, for example, to consider whether you have the opportunity to participate in one of the science or research in action courses. So the 3990 courses, they're often a great gateway into a lab or into a research institute or department, they will give you the opportunity to see what it's like to design experiments and report on your results. So I would encourage you, if you're early on in your training, to consider that as an option. Yeah.
Great. And we have
just remind everyone that the mid-year applications have actually closed for this year, but they will be offered next year as well.
Yeah.
Cool. And there is another question that has been answered, but it's been answered and I can't see the answer, so perhaps nobody else can see it too. So I'm just going to read this out. Are these honours programs available for Bachelor of Science students, or does it just have to be biomed? And I think, Mark, you said that it was okay for both.
Yeah, so the same projects will be offered to both Bachelor of Biomedical Science and Bachelor of Science students. The only difference is for the Bachelor of Biomedical Science students, you actually enrol through the Hudson at the School of Clinical Sciences, and for the Bachelor of Science, you would enrol through usually one of the on-campus departments.
Okay,
great.
There's a question here about Melbourne Uni, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's one additional one. So this one was answered by Minni, but is Melbourne Uni under one of the GO8s? And yes, it is. That's correct.
I've found a question from another anonymous person too.
Yes.
Has the honours year been altered in any way due to COVID-19 this year? And does this affect the way we students will conduct research from next year on? Well, Penny and I are co-supervising an honours student this year, and she's been a trooper. The honours program was elegantly designed to enable the students to spend more time in the first part of the year doing their coursework, preparing an excellent literature review, and becoming grounded in the theory part of their research. And now they're working full tilt in the lab because medical research is typically essential, but there was a strong emphasis on trying to find projects where there were data sets available and emphasis could be placed on analysis. So it is different, it's unpredictable, but there's been a tremendous effort invested in trying to make sure students are engaged and learning and supported, just like we all have to do for one another. So Mark, was there anything else you'd like to add, because you've been involved with this at the university level?
No, we've been able to continue this year's honours courses, and they've gone on with some minor tweaking this year, and that's so far been very successful, and we're hoping next year that things will free up even more. So there's not been any major problems for the students due to COVID-19.
Right. We have a couple more questions, and I think we've just maybe got time for some very, very quick answers. One question is, I've done a few subjects in human anatomy, physiology in Uni Melb. Do I need to take a test to join? Sure.
No, there's no test.
No.
You apply, and your marks from your third year subjects are used to determine whether you're eligible.
Great, thank you. And then just very quickly, are there any research projects that can be based on working from home, living far from the Hudson, such as computational?
Yeah, I would say that that's certainly plausible, depending on the supervisor. So you'll need to have conversations with them and find out what they might be interested in. They may not be specifically offered in the research book, and that way, if there's an area and a supervisor you're interested in working with, talk about your circumstances as openly as possible. You will have to come in to attend some of the aspects of your coursework and the challenges, but we're obviously now learning how to work from home. So I'd have the conversation.
Great,
Yeah.
Thank you, Kate. We're going to have to wrap it up, I think. So the next session for this evening is hosted by the Ritchie Centre, and the link to that webinar is in the Q&A, I think.
Thanks everyone for coming. We hope.
Thank you very much.